I was asked recently about scrapbooking and how I got into it and what I do when I'm scrapbooking. So I thought I would do a little video demonstration on sort of how I scrapbook, because lots of people do it in different ways. Some people like to plan out and use layout plans and things like that, whereas I'm a little bit more laid back. I sort of scrap as I go, and I kind of use the scrapbook term quite literally, and I use up my scraps when I'm doing it. So this one here, as you can see, is my family pets one. I used a geometric mocha scrapbook set to start me off. I have done 12 by 12 scrapbook layouts before, but I quite like this one because it's sort of something that I can build up and give as a gift for someone or as a memory for the boys. This particular one is about the pets in our family. So that's obviously a look at some of the other pages I've done, but I thought I would literally just, whilst you're watching, do a really basic sort of demonstration of how I scrapbook. So all I've done so far is selected a couple of pictures, got to my next double page. Sometimes I work single page at a time, sometimes I work double page, depends on the photos. So far all I've done is matte and layer, so I've just used two different tones here that I knew would work well with that. And then I've had a real good rummage around in the scrap drawer, which is this drawer here in my desk, and just found some bits that I think will tone well with the colours of the mocha book. So these ones here are of our cat, Tinkerbell. And Tinkerbell absolutely loves the boys and will just sit and play with them all the time. Finley here is just snuggling up to her, and Rue is using her head as a skate park, which is quite common of Rue, but she doesn't mind, she actually loves it. So that's who is in the photos. Now with me, I just sort of, I lay it all out first and then I'll stick it down. As I say, sometimes I'll work to layouts if I'm on a 12 by 12, but a lot of the time I just sort of experiment until I'm happy with how it looks. So these bits here are old tags that I obviously had a couple left over of. And the thing I like about having something going out to the side is that I can sort of write notes or information or dates and things. But this one here is quite good. This is a mini card that came in a coordinating mocha set, but obviously it's one left over and it just ended up in my scrap drawer. But this area here would be quite handy for writing information or dates and things. So I think what I'll probably do is have that one around there, have that one maybe a bit higher, and then I might use this one as a sort of information space, somewhere I can write about what it is that's going on in the photo, so that when the boys are older and they look back, they can sort of see. So I've just trimmed off the back of that one, and I think I'll probably just pop that one in the corner there. If I had some more of the dark paper, I probably would matte and layer that one up just to make it stand out a bit more, but I don't have any in that colour. So what I might do is make it stand out a little bit by using what I call a side effect. So I basically edge it on one side so it sort of staggers. So I'll probably do something a bit like that. And the good thing is, if you don't want to then use the bits underneath, you can just trim off the edges. You don't have to use all of it and waste. You could be really sensible and matte and layer this by laying it out and sort of measuring, but I'm one of these people that just sort of is too impatient for that sort of thing. So as you can see, I've got sort of an edge going on there nearly all the way around, and then I've just got a piece there that's coming out a bit further. Now what I could do is put that in there, but to me it doesn't feel right because of the spots. It's more of an edge that I want from that one. Maybe I could layer that one over like that, which is quite nice, looks like that, quite nice. But I do like the effect of having two edge pieces like that as well. Ooh, I don't know what I want to do now. I think I'm going to go for it like that. Yeah, so I'm going to trim down a little bit more of the edge. But as you can see, scrapbooking for me isn't something that I majorly plan. I sort of just go with the flow and see where it takes me. Some people hate working in that way because they want to know exactly what they're doing in their scrapbook, but I quite like working in this way because it means I can just mess around, not sort of rush, just take my time, and see what bits and pieces I want to use up. See this bit here, this bit of scrap would look quite nice, sort of underneath here, kind of like that. And I would use my 3D foam tape, I think, to hold that up a bit. Now these are great as well. These are craft tapes, or some people call them washi tapes, and they're great if you just want to fill blank spaces, just have strips of it. So I will probably use those at some point. And they're nice because you can just tear these. You don't have to use scissors, so you can just tear a piece off and just layer it on like this. And you can fold over the edges if you want to, or you can trim it down if you don't want to spoil what's on the other side. I'll probably trim that down in a second. But this one here, those are from the geometric mocha set again, which is all from Docrafts, these bits and pieces. And then this one here, I think it was from a Classic Decadence range, which is a little old now, probably a couple of months old, but you will still find it in a lot of the craft shops because it was quite a popular one. You will probably find it online as well for anyone that's not got a craft shop local to them. So that there just gives a nice sort of edging in the corner. I didn't go quite to the edge of that bit, but that doesn't matter, I don't mind. So as you can see, it's sort of building up. Now this one here obviously is a lovey-dovey image, so I found these die cuts and I thought they would look quite nice, and I might layer that one up there just to give it a bit of depth, because in this spiral bound book you can add depth to it because it's a spiral bound, so it's not going to affect how it looks, if that makes sense. It's not going to get in the way. When you close the book, it will still close properly. So that's just a bit of natural thread as well. Mix that in with the glittery thread, I think. There we go. So I'm quite happy with how this is building up, and you can sort of see that I literally do just play around and see how I get on. This is just some peel-offs, where I've obviously taken the flowers off, but the circles in the centre will make good embellishments. I do find scrapbooking quite therapeutic as well. It's something that I can just sort of relax with. What other bits I've got here? Some sequins. I'll probably use some of those. I love using sequins in shaker cards at the moment, so I could have done a shakery element. Not sure where I'd want those. I might put a couple in the centres of these here. Looks quite nice like that. And what else have I got? I've got some glitter glue, which I might use. And this one here is a relief outliner. I love this. If I'm going to write and I want it raised in 3D, these are absolutely fantastic. So I'll probably use that at some point. But there you can see I've just sort of built up a layout now, and I'll probably stick all this down. I won't do that while you're watching because it'll be a bit boring, that part, but you can see sort of how I build it up and how I lay it out, and I don't really start with a plan. I just go with the flow, and I literally use scraps. Oh, I've just spotted these ones. These are good as well. These are another Docrafts product. Just love those. But yeah, this is how I scrapbook. It's not the way to scrapbook, it's just the way I do it. And these little books are really good for this. But if you've got any questions, just give me a shout. I'm always happy to help. Hopefully that's given you a little idea of how you can just use your scraps to build up with some photos in these really nice little scrapbooks. You could do the same thing on a 12 by 12 page. Hopefully it's given you some ideas. Thanks for watching.